ladies and gentlemen, Adam Robert Cortez is about to come on and absolutely rock the house. So make sure you stay tuned because we're going to be diving into some great, juicy, epic conversation. And before we go to that, I just want to talk to you out there listening because you're becoming your greatest possible self. You're investing your time, your energy, your being into showing up and making a huge impact. And I want to support you however I can, whether that is coming on the 12-hour marathon as a guest. I would love to support you in that, whether that is launching your own podcast, getting your message out like that, or if there's anything else I can do for you to support you, just let me know. I'm here for you. You can contact me via email, chris@beyourgps.com, beyourgps.com. You can find me on facebook.com/th3burns, and you can find me on Instagram at I am Millionaire Chris. So get a hold of me. Let me know what you're working on, how I can support you, what message you're getting out to the world, and we'll rock it together. Okay? Good or good? Super good. Next up is the iTunes review of the week, and let's see who it's by this week. Rach Gibbster13 said, actionable tips to up-level your life. I absolutely love what Chris has done with this podcast. He brings such great energy to each episode and really leaves you with actionable tips you can implement today to make a change. So grateful to be taught by him. Thanks so much, Rach. I appreciate you. If you want to give us a review, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes and leave us a review. Let us know what you love, what you want to see more of, how we can improve the show for you, and also subscribe while you're there so you can get all the latest updates and keep growing yourself with us into your GPS. Good or good? Super duper good. I'm having a lot of fun, definitely. So we are going to interview Adam in just a bit here. We'll introduce him, bring him on the screen. Before that, though, grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, be ready to take notes because I'm sure we're going to be diving into all kinds of greatness. He's been on the show multiple times before, just delivered so much fire, and he's just an awesome human being. So stay around all the way through till the end because this is going to be full of gold and it's really going to make the difference for you if you are out there improving your appearance, your brand, and your impact in the world. So let's introduce Adam and bring him on the screen. Adam is a seasoned web designer and internet marketer with over a decade in the industry. He has helped small and medium-sized businesses grow and build their online presence so they can make a bigger impact. He's traveled to over 18 different countries and 35 states in the USA, giving talks about business growth and marketing worldwide. And we're blessed to have him here with us today. Adam, are you ready to rock the house, my man?
Yes, I am. How's it going, man?
Blessed. Absolutely blessed, dude. Stepping into my
Love
GPS every day, every moment. I appreciate you being here, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. We're going to have a lot of fun. So let's dive right into the theme of today, which is sharing your gifts. Adam, what does that mean to you? How has that impacted your life, man?
Wow. So it's a big topic. It's very broad. So I'm going to bring it in as far as branding, content marketing, being online and being seen. You talked about it earlier on the show, just like how do you get yourself out there? How do you put yourself into the world? Like what matters and how do you show up and all of that. And the internet's a great place to do that because you're pushing it out into the world and this huge thing is your resource and you can do it from wherever. So it's about time more people take advantage of that because there's so many people hiding or they're not using it to its full potential. And there's ways to do that and there's outlets and there's so many different platforms that you can use other than just Facebook. And so there's just this whole spectrum of places that, that we can take hold of.
I love it, man. I love it. And I love how you said there's a lot of different platforms beyond just Facebook. There's a lot of different ways to share your message, to get that out there. And it's important to be aware of that. What are the different ways to share our gifts? What are the different channels? Because until someone knows what's possible and what's available to them and what best fits their personality, their gifts, their style, their unique position on their journey and how they've learned and adapted and their personality, then until they are aware of that, then they won't be able to make the best decision. So I love that we're going to be illuminating some ways of how they can do that and different things they should be watching out for, especially that a lot of people are doing incorrectly today in today's marketplace and digital ecosystem that we got going on here, man. So I appreciate you just kind of heading in the right direction of that for this conversation. And for people who are just getting connected with you, man, why don't you share a little bit more about yourself, what you stand for, what your clients come to you for?
Yeah, so I've been a web developer for well over 10 years now. I started back when I was in high school. I've done my dabble in coaching. So I bring some coaching elements to this online digital space of like what you should be doing and how can you do it the right way, which is what we're talking about today. And on top of that, I've been a digital nomad for almost 3 years now.
That's right.
I just settled down in Texas, or not Texas, sorry, Hawaii. Big difference. Big difference. Settled down in Hawaii for the last few months. I'll be here 6 months total, and then got to figure out where I'm going to next. But yeah, I live that digital nomad lifestyle because that was what is important to me, and I love travel. And yeah, now it's like figuring out how to find a partner and like living life that way. And so for me, it's all about building the life you want. How can we do that with this online platform that we all have at our fingertips that we're all used to using now, and really just making the best possible journey for yourself and what you want in life, because the 9 to 5 job, that this restrictive lifestyle that has been put on us for so long is starting to disappear. And so it's our chance to step up, make a difference, do the things that we want to do, because it's so cheap to travel. It's so cheap to do a lot of these things. You can build a business on a shoestring budget now and offer great services. So why not do it?
Right. Dude, I love it. I love that you're really educating people on what the past kind of paradigms and what's been going on, and kind of the self-imposed prisons that we have stepped into because of the 9 to 5, because of societal programming, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, hey, we can really do and have anything that we desire. We can travel, we can adventure, and it just takes putting the right systems, processes, structures, and things in place so that we can create that life for ourselves. But, it's just a decision away to get started on that journey. So I think it's really cool. And I want to go back into talking about how you got to where we are today. You mentioned 10 years of web design experience. What was it really that started you off in the digital space and building websites?
Yeah, so this journey's been kind of interesting. So I started in IT. I was IT help desk, went into system admin, network admin. So I was really in the technology industry early. I used to hang out in the server room on my high school campus. I was friends with all the IT guys, and I just immersed myself into that knowledge, because for me, school was boring as hell. I couldn't give a shit about anything else. It was, I want to, we're in this technology world and these things are coming out. How do I just learn more? And so I worked out of high school at a couple different high schools doing IT work. But while I was doing that, I was learning how to build websites. I had a client that I was doing IT work for that was like, hey, do you know how to build a website? And I go, well, not really, but let me figure it out because it can't be that hard.
Right.
A couple months later, I had a website for her. She's actually still a client today. She's a really good friend. And so that was really the start of that journey into content marketing and web design and being online and being seen. These were the MySpace days. These were the days of, really early online traction. So things were very young. And then just over the years, you go to conferences, you read the magazine articles, you read all these new things that are coming out, and you just got to stay on top of it. And not, there's people entering this market that are brand new, and it's a great space to be brand new in because there's just so much to learn.
Yeah.
And those of us that have been in the industry so long, you either have to keep up and keep learning, right? The lifelong learner has to happen, or you just fall behind. So it creates it's really an even playing field of, if you're not willing to learn and keep up and stay on top of things, like this field is great for that. Because it changes so much.
I love this because I'm sure 10 years ago, it was probably more, and even more than that, let's say 15, 20 years ago, like you had to know code. If you didn't know code, like you ain't building a website. Sorry. Like,
Right, right,
there ain't no drag and drop builders like 20 years ago, especially. But even 10 years ago, I'm sure you were having to like do a lot of that coding yourself. You had to learn it all. You had to be self-taught in terms of that. And I love what you said about how like evolution happens and these different services become available. So there's, lead pages, there's WordPress, there's,
right,
all these
right,
different things that you can build your own. And there's often a huge freaking learning curve with it. I built my first WordPress website for ChristopherCBurns.com. That was like, I think 4 years ago, and
right.
I'm a techie too. I went to school for electrical engineering. So like I had an advantage. I'm a millennial, I had an advantage over people who
Right.
were like 20, 30 years older than me who had never had that experience with technology. And I can only imagine what it's like for a lot of people today who have life experience, who have business experience, who have their gifts, but they're not super great with technology. Or maybe they just don't even want to be hassled and have to deal with all that comes with it. Because like I said, it's a pretty steep learning curve if people haven't like really dove into that yet. And it's like, okay, where do we want to invest our time and our energy? What's the
Hmm.
best place for that? Even today, even though I'm techie, I hate working on the website. I would so much rather
Right.
be doing interviews. I'd be so much rather, creating content, speaking on stage, whatever, right? Like, but working on the
Right.
website, that's not my zone of genius that I really love. So I really leave it to the people who are like so much better at it than me to like maintain that and keep doing it for me. So dude, I love that this is coming up because it's a perfect conversation for where our society is at and our digital age is at, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because, we get clients all the time that, um, they have something and then they're moving to the next stage of their business, right? They
Mm,
got their first 10, 20 clients, they're making some money now, there's cash flow coming in,
yeah.
and they go, okay, this website isn't serving us.
Mm,
So what do we need to do to make sure that it's working? And there's a lot of things, right? You got SEO, you got on-page SEO, you got off-site SEO.
yeah.
You're building your brand awareness, you're putting more content out, you start a podcast, you all these different things. So how do we integrate? How do we tie it in? You
Mm,
have a CMS system, all these things. And these basic builders, Square, Wix, whatever, aren't doing it for them. That's where we come in and shine because
mm,
it's not just a website. It's not just branding. It's how do you build this real tool that your business is going to use to help you succeed so that you're not recreating your services every time you onboard a new client, right? So
yeah.
how do we make sure that your business online is going to be just killing it?
Mm,
Um, and you need a website that can do that for you. And I think that's where you have a lot of people that are like, oh, our website's just there when I they check it when I give them a business card and make sure I'm online. It's a great starting point. I'm not
right.
knocking it. It's a great starting point.
Right.
But as you grow, right, you need to have something that's more of a tool that helps you get there because there's only
Yeah.
one of you. So if you're going to start hiring, if you're going to start doing all these things and delegating, you need to have a real tool and system that's going to, just rock it for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. So let's talk about appearance because that's a big thing.
Right.
Where are people making mistakes with their appearance online? We mentioned, hey, you can have a website that people go to and say, hey, does this person have a website? And that's the bare minimum kind of having a website. But like, what are people not knowing about their website that they could be making mistakes on, man?
Yeah. So there's so many pieces. I think it has to start with knowing who your audience is and
Mm,
who you're trying to approach.
yeah.
Really understanding your client avatar, which is just a fancy way of saying like who's the one person I want to market to, who do I like working with,
Yeah.
like who do I want to keep coming in over and over and over again,
Mm,
and then that's who, as a company, you're going to put your efforts to market to. Right?
yep.
You don't want to market to everybody. Maybe you want to market directly to coaches. And
Right.
so coaches are your people.
Mm,
Um, and so once you know that, you could start your brand appearance. What
mm,
resonates with them? What are you going to be talking about that pulls them in and makes them interested in?
mm,
Um, More often than not, it's something that you didn't even think about, right?
mm,
It's something that was you thought about something completely different, and they couldn't give a shit about that, right? They want this thing over here that is more important to them.
Mm.
And so when it comes to like your brand and your colors and it's not so much about you, it's more about them.
Mm.
And so what can you do to resonate with them? The other mistake is just not putting yourself out there, right? You build this website, you could buy you have someone on Fiverr create a logo for you, you put this thing out, and then you sit at home and you're on your phone and you're not doing anything. You're not
Mm.
making phone calls, you're not reaching out to people on LinkedIn, you're not on Sharper, you're not on
Mm.
all these different tools you have to network, and you're just not doing it. And I think that's one of the big misconceptions with the internet is that, oh, if I build it, people will come.
Mm.
There's so many sites out there, there's so many people doing the same thing that you're doing. You have to make yourself stand out, you have to put yourself in the front line
Mm.
to show up, right? So that's all part of your branding, that's part of your identity. So what can you do to make yourself stand out? What can you do to make sure you're top of mind all the time? Right. So there's just so much that goes branding and personal entity and your business identity,
Yeah.
other than just here's a website.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really important to know, like, what are the values that are driving your company? What do you want to be known for? What do you want
Right.
people to be talking about when you leave the room? What is the brand that you have? What are they still saying about you? Do they say that your website is boring and it's like it's kind of plain? Do they say, oh, he had like okay, energy, okay content, but I probably wouldn't keep going back to him? Or do you want them to say, man, this website is beautiful, this content is super helpful, I
Right.
want to share it with my audience, I want to really contribute to others and make a difference with them by getting this word out? Like, it's, how do you want to be seen? How do you want to show up in the marketplace? And a lot of people are not intentional about that, about how am I being received, how are people
Right.
like experiencing me, my brand, and my company.
Hmm. Right. And that's so one of the things that we offer, just talking about our services, right? We
Yeah,
build the
yeah.
website and then we do content marketing and content development and pushing that out and sharing that. And one of the things that um, we have to cover and we have to do is find content that works. So you're doing SEO research, or what's going to show up, what's going to rank higher, what are other people writing about that people are searching for,
Mm-hmm.
and can I write better than them? Can I
Wow.
do 10 times better than them in content writing than what's already out there? Or
Mm-hmm.
is there more resources now? Is that page outdated? Can I do something that's better? Right. So
Mm-hmm.
you're always trying to push the envelope of how can I be the next best version of what's out there?
Right.
Can I do that? And if I can't, let's not do that topic. Let's think about something else.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much content out there. You can't just throw things to the wind and think it's going to work. You have to be strategic on what you're writing about, what your videos are going to be on, and what people are searching for. Right. So it is a multifaceted approach to creating some awesome content,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes work. And so I think that's where people miss the mark too. Is they're just creating things that they think are going to be okay without doing the little pieces of work that go behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And they go, oh well, why is no one's looking at my piece? It doesn't work. The system doesn't work. It's broken. I'm going to go do something else. So no, it's still a job, right? There's
Yeah.
still work that has to get done.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so I think that's, if you don't do that research, if you don't understand how to do that, which is something that we teach how to do, and what we talk about with our clients one on one, you can really miss the mark and really screw up and waste a lot of time.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think people might be having questions about, like, where do I really make it a priority to get a website and to focus on appearance, to focus on the brand and the values that I want to represent? How would you answer that question?
So where would they get it?
Like, yeah, like at what point, like, how do they
Right.
know when to prioritize it, at whatever stage they're at? We have a lot of different people in the audience who are entrepreneurs, authors, speakers, coaches, wanting to build their brand. So they're probably at a variety of different
Right.
points on the
Right.
spectrum. But how would you, like, kind of give them a pathway to know where they're at and how to take those next steps?
Yeah. So that what we see a lot of are so you got to go back to business. Like, where are you in the business cycle? Um, Someone that's new, like, when you just have to have the money to do it, right? You
Yeah.
can't, you don't want to spend $200 and get a Fiverr designer to do something for you. Like, just, that's just a no. It doesn't work out. Usually what we see and what enters our door is someone that's leaving a 9 to 5 job, ready to do this thing on their own. They have some money in their bank account and they can go, we can afford this because we still have cash flow coming in. So it's not going to kill us to spend money to actually do this the right way, right? That's one real way to do it. And I recommend it that way for new business owners. Like, don't kill your cash cow until you're actually ready to move on.
That's right.
And realize that you're going to have to do some hard work to get your money flow back, right? Yeah. So business wise, you have to be in that mindset to do it. The other way as well, you don't need a website to really make money out the door. I think that's a big misconception. People, if you're out networking and you're talking to people, especially now because there's so many platforms like Instagram and your LinkedIn, and people want to validate that you've been doing things for a while. So whether you're writing posts on Medium, whether you're a photographer and posting all of your shots on Instagram, right? Those are great starting points for you to get clients and to make money, right? Like, let's just be honest. When we're in business to make money and lots of it.
Yep.
And if you're not, you shouldn't be in business. It's a hobby. Straight up truth.
Preach it.
So you can make money and get yourself going with these free platforms out the door, and it's great. And so once you have that going, and once you have steady income, or what you can perceive as steady income, and your bills are paid, and you're not hurting to pay your rent or turn your water bill back on, right? Like, because that happens. We've all been there.
Yep.
Then you're at the point of, okay, let's build a website. Let's get this thing running the way it should be, because it's an investment. It's a tool. It's an investment, and you have to do all the other work on top of it to make this thing work the right way. So it's, don't be poor. We don't want you to be poor. We don't want to see you struggle like that. Make some money first, or have some money to do it. And that's really what it comes down to in business. I think just with anything, if you're going to buy a tool, if you're going to buy another service, if you're going to buy coaching, make sure you have income, because it doesn't serve you to be evicted and out on the street, right? Like, it doesn't serve anybody.
Yeah, it's like, how do I? It's what is it? People are willing for the worst case scenario to be like a total disaster, and like still take the step anyways. It's like, no, like, you gotta figure out something where you don't lose ground if it doesn't turn out how you planned. Obviously we all do our best to have good intentions, to find the right people, quality people, but I think a lot of people don't do the research. A lot of people don't like really investigate the track record, ask for, previous satisfied clients, different things like that. And hey, if you just want to lead with your gut, go with your intuition, by all means, go for it. And if it didn't turn out as planned, don't use that as something to hold against yourself or blame yourself or blame them for, because you didn't do the due diligence. I think it's super important. Like, I know I personally had a lot of struggle because I thought, if I just keep investing my money and pile up the debt and buy all these coaching programs, then I'll be able to be financially free. And it's like, no, Chris, that's not how it works.
Right.
That's not how it works. You gotta have a business that's actually generating income. And there was a lot of personal growth that I had to go through to get to where we are today and being where we're at in our business. So, I'm grateful that we're having this conversation, because it's not just about the appearance, but we're going into the business philosophy, the money philosophy, and why we're doing it. I think that's important that you bring that to your clients, not just a website, but hey, how does your business run? How does your marketing run? How do you plan on scaling and growing this thing to make a even bigger impact and share your gifts even more?
Right. Because that's one of the conversations we have to have up front is, what are your services? What are you charging? Is it worth having a website right now? We do sites for contractors, and they really just need a portfolio site with the call now button, right? So we have to understand what they're trying to do and what their outcome is, to make sure that we're building the right tool for them.
Mm,
And that's what's important, right? Um, any web developer who could just take cash and like run and
right.
build something that is out there, and they went, yeah, we built your website, we did it, good luck, have fun, you know. And there are people like that out there.
Yeah.
God knows, when I started early on, I probably did the same thing with a few clients, right? Like, didn't know what I was doing, still figuring it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much to do now for websites.
Mm,
There's so many more pieces of the puzzle that have to happen. And it takes someone with the knowledge and the years of experience now to know that. And it
mm,
also comes down to knowing the business, understanding businesses, which is where, you know, my claim to fame is I've been a coach for a while. Like, I get the business side of things.
yeah.
It's not just this online tool. It's more.
It's amazing, man. In terms of like marketing, what would you say are important ways to be utilizing these different platforms? Because every business has different channels that they can use to market themselves. How does someone know what's the best channel to market through?
Great question. It all depends. It
Mm,
depends on your industry, depends on what you're trying to promote. It depends on your audience, like what your client is doing, because it depends on where your client's going to be looking.
yeah.
Um, so like travel bloggers, people that are on the road promoting their lifestyle, maybe they're doing DIY craft projects, like YouTube is the platform for you,
Yeah.
right? You can monetize, you can have multiple ways of income. Like, I think YouTube is the best platform for monetization right now for
Mm,
certain industries,
right.
because there's so many ways that you can make money, and it's a huge community, and you're not just building like this list, you're building a community that has your back. Like,
Mm,
people have these guys' backs. They're living vicariously through you,
mm,
but you love the people that you follow. Same thing with podcasts, same thing with this live system that we're on right now,
yeah.
right? People follow you because they've been with you for so long now, and they're talking about and what you say and the guests that you bring on. Um, I also think it comes down to picking one thing or
Mm,
two things that are the best for you. Like, what do you as a business want to spend time doing to market yourself? Do you
mm,
love writing? If you love writing, stick to your blog, stick to Medium, like, write the content that matters and that's
mm,
important. But don't think, oh, because I do this, I should do video too. But you hate being in front of the camera. Like, it makes you cringe. You can't get the shot right. You can't, like, if you can't do that, don't do it. Don't
right.
force yourself to do it, because then it's going to be shitty and then no one's going to like it. Right. Like, it's this whole, if you don't like yourself in front of the camera, don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so it's picking the one thing that you can be amazing at and
Mm,
use as a tool to utilize as a funnel. Um, and don't like, don't make yourself stretch yourself where you just hate everything that you're doing. Because I've seen
mm.
so many people do that, with like, we're going to start our YouTube channel, and then we're going to do Facebook, then we're going to do LinkedIn, and then we're going to post on Medium, and then we're going to do Quora. And then you're like, well, what do you do the client work? And they're like, oh, like, yeah, we have to do that too. You're
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
come on, man. You still
Yeah.
got a whole
Well,
bunch of other stuff to do.
I think what can be difficult is we see big people, big companies, big brands on a lot of different platforms, and it's like we didn't see that. Let's say Lewis Howes, he first mastered LinkedIn. That's where he
Right.
got super successful, getting tens of thousands of people, following him in a sports community that he created. Like Lewis Howes School of Greatness. He's known for his podcast. He's known for Instagram, different things like that. But like he didn't get there instantly. He had to grow through his phases and his platforms. So I think it's important what you said about choosing one or two and just like go super deep, really master that. And
Right.
also I think the community is super important in that as well. Engage in the community. That's in my opinion, that's essential for growing a
Hmm.
platform, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. You have to be active and commenting and building relationships in the community so that people like want to engage with your stuff. They want to be a part of what you're
Right.
doing because you're showing up and giving first. You're giving value, giving content, not only in your own channel, in your own space, but also out in different places so that people know that, hey, he's not just caring about his stuff, but he also is out to
Right.
add value everywhere he can.
Right. right?
Thank
And you're very visible now, right?
you.
Like
Yeah.
your own online avatar
Yeah.
follows you everywhere you go, right? So you're on
Yes.
Facebook, Instagram, like all your personal stuff. And so you are trackable, right?
Yeah.
As scary as that sounds, you're
Yeah.
trackable. And so you have to put yourself in those businesses' shoes and show yourself and show up in those pages and those groups and all of that. And so if you're doing that, then your audience will see
Mm.
that you're doing that and follow
Mm.
suit. So
Yeah.
the audience is a huge piece. It's super important to grow that audience and grow like this familiar backbone with people that care about you, right?
Yeah.
Like these, my favorite example are these travel bloggers because
Mm.
I love it and it makes me happy. But you have these van lifers or these people that travel everywhere, and you're taking a peek into their lifestyle, right? You're following them in these beautiful places around the world.
Yeah.
They're interacting with you in their comment section. Um, you're watching a video that might have been shot 3 days ago, but then on Instagram, I'm seeing what they're doing now, the food that they're eating, the beautiful
Mm.
places that they're at, and so I know like what's coming next. I know that their dog is sick. I know that one of them is in the hospital, and I'm wishing them. I mean, right? There's all these
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
but because of it, like, so one guy that I follow, his drone fell in the water and got
Mm.
ruined.
Wow.
His community backed him and got them a new drone
Wow.
immediately,
Oh my gosh.
right? Like you couldn't do that if you didn't have a following and people that cared about you. And
Mm.
so that's what this online marketing and having your own image and all this is what it's about. It's as weird as it is, people care. People
Yeah.
want to be there for you in some way, right? That's the reason why we have movements on, when we ask for donations for certain things, people do care. People
Mm.
do have a heart, and so that's what you're doing. You're building this audience for people that care about you and want to see you succeed, which means being genuine. It means not being an a-hole,
Yeah.
right? And it's it it makes I think it makes people better. There's definitely an opportunity for the online trolls and all of that to happen. But the people that want to be there to really support you will show up and will be
Mm.
there.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, man. It's really, you got to know who you resonate with, who's your tribe, who do you want to vibe with, who do you want to be surrounded by, and knowing the platform they hang out on and what's the message that you want to deliver, that they align with, that they are hungry for, that they want to receive, and the content and the entertainment and the education, all of it, like really being intentional about that. So I think that's super important. And I know your journey has also taken you around the world, man. I want to dive into that for a second and talk about
Yeah.
how that has influenced your branding, your marketing, building websites. How has that played a part in your journey, man?
Yeah. It's been, so I built this business early on to be mobile.
Mm.
I knew I didn't want to be stuck in one location. I wanted to be able to travel. I wanted to do all these things. And so I built my marketing around that. I built, the way that my team works. We're all remote. We all can go wherever the hell we want. I got team members in Italy. I have some in the States in different locations, right? Like
That's awesome.
built my business for this.
Mhm.
Um, and then I started traveling. So I traveled for about 2.5 years. I'll hit my 3-year mark here in Hawaii, which
Mhm.
is its own vacation in its own way. Um, but because I've been able to travel, I get to see all these different places and just you get out of your bubble and see how
Yeah.
the world works. Because in the U.S., we get in our little political and social economic bubble that we can't see
Mhm.
out of,
Yep.
and you just realize that there's just so much more um, out there. There's so
Yeah.
much more than just the technology that we see, especially coming from the Silicon Valley, right? In
Mm.
the Silicon Valley, we complain about the bird scooters and oh, this laptop sucks, and oh, this technology thing is horrible, or well, whatever, right? We complain a
Right.
lot,
Right.
and you go and see the rest of the world. No one cares.
Mm.
No one cares about any of it. It's about genuine human connection. It's about sharing a meal for hours with friends that you love and care about.
Mm.
It's spending 2 weeks with a friend that you made a year ago over Christmas and New Year's, right? It's the human connection that we care about, um, because we're human, right? Like we're built for that. We're built to have touch, to be connected, to have community, to be loved, to be seen. Um, and so that whole part is is monumental, and we don't see that. We're so, we're blinded. We have our blinders on, um, and so it's helped my business because what we do and what we help our clients do is more than just building this website or building this business. You're building that community, right?
Mm,
So if you're building that community, how do you want to be seen? How do you want your customers to love and take care of you? It's a lot more than just like selling a product.
right.
Um, Building a brand and building this thing, it's about this community that stands behind you.
Mm,
Um, and it's not instant. It's not this instant success story. You're not going to do it in 1 year. It takes years. It
yeah.
takes time, and it's about picking up the phone and following up with people that you talked to a year ago or 2 years ago, or and just saying, "Hey, how's it going? What have you been up to? How's your business? Just great catching up." And if you do that, that's when you start getting the referrals. That's when you start. People are like, "Oh, he's actually still here, and he still cares about what I'm up to, so I care about what he's up to."
Mm.
Um, it really is that connection piece, and we forget about it. We definitely forget about it in the U.S., and the rest of the world hasn't. Uh, the world is screwed up in its own way, shape, or form. It always will be. We're always going to be in turmoil. There's going to be wars, and there's going to be this and that. Um, there's more people that care and love about their family and their tribe and their community that will always override that.
Yeah.
And you really get to see that the minute you step off U.S. soil, the minute that you get to any of these other countries, that you just realize that it's community. It really
Mm.
is about community.
So it sounds like the purpose behind a business in general has really become a lot more clarified for you. Like, why are you building a business? What's the life that you want to create because of this? What kind of freedom
Hmm.
do you want to have? What values do you want to be have fulfilled? It sounds like you really got clear on what's important in life, and that
Right.
translated into your business, and also helping other businesses say, hey, why are you doing this? Why do you want to get more clients? Why do you want to have the website? What do you want it to help you do? And when that happens, why is that important for you? How does that help you achieve your greatest purposes and aims in life? What difference would it really make for you? And so it's like asking those deeper questions, and also remembering why we did it in the first place. Why did we create the business? To help, to serve people, to make a difference.
Right. And it's funny because I'm kind of laughing because, when we first met and we both were first starting out,
Mhm.
I think we were both kind of a-holes trying
Yep.
to just get money, right? We
Yep.
were just trying to hustle and pay our bills, and we didn't
Yep.
give, two flying, we were just trying to do our thing.
Yeah.
And it takes time and it takes the journey and like figuring it out and getting out of the struggle, because the struggle happens, where you can finally find your footing and be like, oh, there's more to life. There's more to do. There's more important stuff other than just this.
Yeah.
But you still have to get out of the struggle, right? Um, it's been interesting because now I've been able to reflect on my travels and like what happened and why I did certain things the way I did.
Mhm.
The first year that I went off, I was really running away from like my problems. I was
Mhm.
going broke. I couldn't figure out, what I was doing right in business and wrong. And so I literally ran. I bought a ticket and went to Barcelona.
Mhm.
Like I went to the other side, went to Europe,
Yeah.
and wasn't sure when I was coming back. I bought a one-way ticket, and I had to run and make myself uncomfortable and
Mhm.
build that muscle of being uncomfortable and having to make decisions. It, it wasn't life or death, but it was making decisions that you had to figure out, because you had to figure out where you were going to sleep at night. You have to
Mhm.
figure out what you're going to eat. You have to figure out, like, do you feel safe here in this country, or do you need to go somewhere else?
Right.
So you're making decisions to make yourself better constantly. And the only way to do that is to just keep doing it.
Mhm.
Um, Same thing with speaking, same thing with being on podcasts. You're going to suck the first couple times at doing it.
Yep.
It's the repetitive motion of building up that strength and being a better interviewer and being a better this and that.
Yeah.
And so by running it forced me to how to make the tough decisions and being uncomfortable. So when I came back after my first year abroad and traveling, I was able to clean up the mess that I left behind. I was able to mend bridges, and those things are still going on, right? You still have to do all the work. And then the second year, and now it's more about revisiting friends, building a community,
Yeah.
seeing people that I love and care about. And then when I do see them, it's about quality time.
Mm.
How do I give them all of my attention? How do they know that I'm fully present when I'm around them? I spent my birthday and New Year's in France with a really good friend that I met in New Orleans with her family. There was 8 of us in a 3-bedroom house, and all we did was eat all day long, play games, wander around the city streets of Strasbourg, France,
Mm.
and we were just present with each other. Like that friendship grew so much over those 3 weeks I spent with them because we were just present. Like it became a family, right? And that's what matters. That's why I do what I do, because I get to spend time with the people that matter to me. And I think that's why we're in business, is to be able to do those things that matter to us.
Yeah, yeah, it's true, man. I think a lot of people miss out on what life is all about if they just stay in their bubble
Right.
and stay comfortable. It really takes being on that growth edge constantly of finding out who I am, what I stand for, what's important to me, and being willing to explore that, being willing to adventure, and not hold on too tightly to what we knew. Because like for you like you ran away, but it was something that your soul's like, I know that there's something better than this. I know that I'm
Right.
meant for more than this. I feel like a piece is missing, and you go out and you find yourself, you find what's important to you. And it's like this phase of your life, especially, it was required for you to be able to
Right.
serve the world at your greatest capacity. So what a blessing it was to run away. What a blessing it was to have all those relationships that you get to mend and things to clean up, because it makes you a stronger person. It reminds you who
Right.
you are and what's important to you, and like what you will and won't tolerate. Like we don't
Mhm.
tolerate broken, burned bridges. We clean
Right.
them up. We go back and we say, "Hey, I apologize. I was being stupid. Do you forgive me?" Like we extend that gesture. If someone doesn't want to accept it, hey, that's them and they're holding on to that. But at least
Right.
we have the ability to like go back and clean it up. And I think that's huge, man.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It really is.
Yeah, I love it. I love this, dude. This is great. And for people who they're on the journey and they want to really share their gifts with the world, is there anything else you'd recommend about sharing, communicating their gifts that we haven't touched on? Maybe digitally, maybe with their appearance, maybe just getting it out in a bigger way.
It comes back to just picking a platform, picking something that resonates with you. Whether you have a business or you don't, um, like how do you want to be seen in the world? Like what do you want to be known for? What kind of friend do you want to be? What kind of person of integrity or whatever? How do you want to be seen like that? Um, eh, Social media has its downfalls, and we like to show the pretty side of everything, right? Like
Mhm.
we're just conditioned to be like living my best life, YOLO, da 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 da, right? Um, it's also a place to show vulnerability, right? Like you can show up and need help and express help, and people will show up for you. You're gonna have a-holes that are like, oh, you're just crying again, or you're just whatever, because that happens too. But again, your community will show up for you.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's just figuring out how you want to be seen, like what do you want to be known for in life and in the world,
Mm.
and then put those platforms around you, um, to really do that, right? Like there's people that are writers on Medium that share their life story because they needed an outlet to share their life story,
Yeah.
and they have a great following. And what they're doing is they're creative writers, and they just need to write to get themselves out there. It's not about making money. It may not be about building this business. It's just about sharing themselves,
Yeah.
and that's what makes a difference in their lives. Same thing with YouTubers. There's people like, yes, there's monetary value in it, but sometimes it's just an outlet to put yourself out there because you're going through something and you need a way to express that.
Yeah.
So it's finding out what matters to you. It's just finding that platform that works for you and then sticking to it. It's one thing I will say. I think another thing that we screw up on is we're not consistent. We have a problem staying consistent with things, especially our generation. We change a lot, or we can't stick to one thing or another. And when we stop seeing, when you don't put consistency into your work, that's when you lose your following. That's when it's hard to build your brand up. So it's picking something, sticking to it, doing the hard work, and people will follow you. People will be there for you. You'll build that community. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gold, man. I think it's the consistency, especially, is a big thing for our generation because it's like mastery of that one or two platforms, mastery of
Right.
delivering a service, again and again and again. It's like I think I hear the common advice. Have one perfect client that you serve, have one solution, one high ticket program kind of thing, and just go deep with it, just master it and really get to six figures with that, and then expand and choose where you go from there. Like where do you want to evolve from there? But I think a lot of people are trying to light a bunch of different fires and juggle a bunch of different things at once. And it's like, just
Right.
choose one thing and really master it.
Right. And that's what all these, I mean, you want to talk about these big businesses, these huge brands, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, right? They started with one product.
Yeah.
They made millions off of one product first. And then they expanded and tested new things. Then they tried new recipes. Then they, did all this other stuff. But they made money first with one thing, and they were great at it, right? All these master brewers, all these, breweries, everything all these things. They made money with one product first or one service first, and that's how they grew. And when you get discouraged or you see all these other companies doing multiple things, you got to remember there's a huge team behind them. They have millions of dollars in funding to pay for this team of 20, 30 marketers to do all of this work. So of course they're going to be able to do all of these different things to show their brand out there and have these billboards. You're still a small business, and it's okay to be good at one thing and to focus on that one thing first. And I think that's super important. It's just focusing on that and not letting yourself get distracted by the 20 other things you could be doing. But you would just do 20 things horribly.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do it at all.
I love it. Okay, so I want to talk about the future, man. What does the future hold for you? What are you excited for in the next, let's say, 5-10 years? Is there anything that's coming up? Any kind of travels, personal growth, personal things that you want to accomplish, achieve, purpose, anything like that stands out for you?
Yeah. So travel wise, I'm excited to see where I go next. I never know where I'm going next. I always I'll tell people oh, I'm going to go here next, or I'm going here. And then I end up going the other direction, right? Like I was going to move to Nashville or Austin, and then here I am in Hawaii. So I've been trying to stop telling people where I'm going next, just because I don't know, whoever the cheapest ticket is. And, I'm thinking of Southeast Asia and Japan just because it's close by. I really want to get to Egypt this year. I'm hopefully planning to do that for my birthday, is to be in Egypt. It's been one of those goal locations that my inner 14-year-old is you got to do this. That's the thing.
Yes.
So that's on that horizon. Business wise, so business where the website, our one thing, websites, has been steady and great. And I love it. It's doing what it needs to do. We're getting the clients that are amazing and awesome, and that's working. The other arm that we just started doing is this content marketing and branding and helping you grow the website once it's there, because that's been one of the problem points for our clients is, okay, once the website's done, how do we grow this traction? So we put a strategy together with you. We work with our clients to get that done. We can only take on so many right now because we're growing our team too. So we're going to start growing as we take on more. So we have limited spots for that, but we have 3 clients in right now and it's amazing. They're seeing results. We can track all the information for them. And it's just been a lot of fun to dive into their business and see what they're up to in the world and how we can just partner with them to make them grow and be this recognizable company that they want to be. So that's what we're working on there. And then one of my marketing channels that I'm starting is my own podcast. So I've been interviewing remote workers, digital nomads, that spend. So my parameters is that they travel at least 4 months out of the year from their home base, or what they consider their home base. So I've been interviewing van lifers, people that just pick up and go, that are backpackers, that are digital nomads, because I want to highlight the highs and lows of being on the road. I want to talk about, like, why is it important for our age? And there's those that are older than us that are doing the same thing. Like, why is it important to do this stuff? Like, why is it important to get out there? I don't think there's that many people talking about it. I think they talk about, like, how great it is to be on the road. I think they talk about, in their own way, they'll bring it up, but there's no one that's been focused on digital nomads needs and how to do it. And so that's what this podcast is going to be. It's really diving into all these different facets of what it means to be digital and on the road and loved in life.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing, man. I'm curious, what was it about because podcasting is a channel, it's a style of content, and you're like digging into content marketing in your business as well. What inspired the podcast as a outlet of for you, self-expression for your business, etc.?
So I personally hate writing. Like, I'm decent at it. I do writing. I have my content writers that do our writing for our company. And so that's great. I don't want to do all of it. And so for something for me to dive and sink my teeth into as a project, I love doing interviews. I love having conversations with people. And so for me, a podcast was just a natural flow to interview people that I think are fascinating. I think, some of the interviews that I've been having, they're just amazing, and their journeys that they've been on. And, I'm lighting up right now, but in these interviews, like, we're both lighting up about how much we love being on the road, and, like, oh my God, this one hostel, did you stay at that hostel? I stayed at that hostel. That thing is great, right? Like, there's this, when you're on the road and you're traveling and you're meeting other people that travel, there is this, like, brotherhood that happens. There is this, I did a post about this earlier about, like, what are the 5 first questions you come up with when you meet someone new on the road? It's, where have you been? How long are you staying here? Where are you from? How old are you? And then where are you going next? Right? Like, there's, like, this list, and it just happens, and you know what's going to happen. And then you're like, okay, cool. We're going to go to wherever. We're going to go eat. We're going to go to this thing. You want to come? And then the next thing you know, you're best friends with the person, right?
Awesome.
Like, you're traveling the next 2 countries over with that person. You share a meal. Some of my best friends that I have now are because of that. And so when you get people that get that, and you understand that, like, you are going to meet people you may never see again, but if you put the effort in, you could see them again, and then you do see them again, or you run into them in a different country or a different city, like, there's just magic. You're just like, oh my God, it's great to see you again. Let's go here. Let's go have food here. Let's go. And then it's just this camaraderie. And it's great. I think it's there's nothing like that. There's nothing like that in the world when you start running into people you've seen again in a country that neither one of you have ever been to. And you're just like, oh my God, like, the stars align, and you realize that this earth that we're on is way smaller than we thought it was. And just comes back to that community piece, just like how important community is and what you build.
That's incredible. I love it, Adam. So I want to start wrapping up now and give people the final takeaways. And if there's anything that we haven't covered yet on getting the message out, appearance online in digital space. Let's cover that. After that, we'll talk about how people can stay connected with you, what we want them to do next, and then we'll wrap up the conversation with the minute to win it, and that is basically a heartfelt message of encouragement about your truth and what you want to share with the world. But that's at the very end. So for right now, let's talk about a recap, anything that we didn't touch on, or if there's nothing there, then let's tell people how they can stay connected with you. Where do you want to go?
Yeah, I just say figure out who you want to be online and who you want to be in the world. Put yourself out there. Find that platform. Write those pieces of content. Create those videos. Just do it. There's nothing stopping you. You have a phone that can do it. You can type it out on your phone. You have a cell phone. You should be able to do whatever you want. You can build a business off of that. So just no more excuses. Just make it happen.
That's right. Take action, baby. Adam, how do they stay connected with you? What do we want them to do next, brother?
Yeah, so my business website is arc-websites.com. You can find all of our information there about our business and what we do and how we help our clients. Our blog is growing. We've been promoting more and more on our blog and creating content that way. The other way that you can connect with me is on my Instagram. It's Adam R. Cortez, at Adam R. Cortez. You can see all my traveling photos and all of my fun places I've been. I do have a personal website that I should be updating, and I just haven't because I've been too busy living it and being in the mix of travel to just kind of stop and put stuff up there. But it's adamcortez.com. That's about it. That's how you can get a hold of me. I answer emails regularly. My assistant does too, so it's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet, brother. So let's give them this minute to win it. Before that, though, everyone connect with Adam at Adam R. Cortez on Instagram, www.arc-websites.com. Go check out his stuff. And hey, if you're in need of a website, who better to go to than Adam to create that experience for you, to really get clear on who you are, what you stand for, what's your purpose with your business. Are you really fulfilling that? Are you really creating the impact that you desire? Are you wanting to get more content and get your message out more? Talk to Adam, see what he can do to support you with that. So do that. And Adam, let's give him the minute to win it, man. This is the encouragement from your soul, your highest truth, maybe around traveling, maybe around something else that you just want our audience to be left uplifted with this final piece of wisdom, man.
Yeah, go buy that plane ticket. Go out there, book the plane ticket. They're not expensive. Go travel to that place that you always dreamed of going that you never thought you could, whether it's Rome, whether it's, going to see the Eiffel Tower in Paris, whether, whatever it is, go do it. Make the time, make the effort, put the energy in. The world is an amazing place, and there's people out there that just make it even better and leave this stamp on your heart that will never go away. It's possible. It's super easy. The things that are holding you back that scare the shit out of you, they're just in your head. They're just family members telling you things that have never done it before. Just do it. It is super important to our growth and our development to see the world. It'll change your perspective on everything. It really will.
I love it. Adam, you are so awesome, man. Love seeing you spread your wings, travel, experience what the world has to offer, and then relay that message to me, to our audience, and people who are tuning in, because I know we all got a soul that wants to expand. And I can't think of any better way to do that than traveling, adventuring, meeting new people, getting outside of our bubble, getting outside of our comfort zone, and seeing what the world is really like. Not what our vision and version of the world, but what the world is really like. So it's awesome what you're doing, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, brother. You're a rock star. Keep up the heat. And everyone go to arc-websites.com. Follow Adam. That's at Adam R. Cortez on Instagram. And Adam, have the best day ever, man. Appreciate you.
All right. Thanks.
We'll see you soon.